James Corden's been in the news lately. And
can't escape the guy.
I mean, that's true. He's the late night host on CBS. And lately he's been in the news because he apparently dressed down some of the wait staff at Balthazar, which is a New York restaurant that he loves, but they got his wife's order wrong several times. And so he basically said, what, am I going to cook it myself? Leaving one poor waiter, waitress in tears. So that's what they said. So then he was banned from Balthazar, then he apologized and let back in. Then his apology wasn't good enough, so now he's out at Balthazar.
And then he rescinded his apology.
Yeah. He's like, okay, I'm not sorry. I got poor service. Yeah, I dressed her down. Whatever. So now James Corden is apologizing again for something completely different.
Non-food related?
Non-food related. He's accused of, and I guess he's pretty much admitted to, stealing a joke from Ricky Gervais, who's a comedian and actor who has hosted the Golden Globes. Is it the Golden Globes? That
yes.
He's
oh yeah,
really good. I mean, I really like him. He started The Office in England, and that's when The Office came to the United States. That's when I took my approach of, I've already seen the British version.
Yes, I don't watch you watch the American Office?
I won't watch the American version of that. Well, apparently he has a special, Ricky Gervais, on Netflix from 4 years ago, and he was talking about how people go back and forth with each other on Twitter. And it's like somebody puts something up on Twitter, and then you go on and yell at them about what they've posted. And this was the joke that Ricky Gervais told.
That's like going into a town square, seeing a big notice board, and there's a notice, guitar lessons, and you go, but I don't want guitar lessons. Fine, it's not for you then. Just walk away. Don't worry about it.
We've played that joke. He does a whole stand-up.
I've heard him tell that story, that joke,
many times,
several times.
I know. I was going to say we played that on the show several times.
Pretty familiar with it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if somebody says something on Twitter, just innocuous, like, I'm giving guitar lessons. Oh, you're an idiot. That kind of thing.
So did Corden do a variation of it?
Yes, recently. James Corden goes on and says this.
Because if someone puts up a poster in a town square that says guitar lessons available, like, you don't get people in the town go, I don't want to play the guitar! I mean, that sign wasn't for you. It was for somebody else. You don't have to get mad about all of it.
That was Monday.
I hate to say it, that does sound almost word for word the same joke.
Correct.
I don't know if I blame James Corden on this.
His writers,
because he's got a whole team of writers.
Well, you're right about that. They have a team.
Isn't that funny, though, that as soon as I heard Gervais and what the joke was, I was like, oh, I've heard that, And I don't watch that kind of stuff like Netflix very much. We've heard it on here. It's surprising to me that Corden himself hadn't heard it, as much as he probably dabbles in that world. In that world, yeah, I would think he had heard that.
Now, I'm also a believer in that people can have the same idea, but for it to be as word for word as it is.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose. But you're right, because I think comics call it, what do they call it, parallel thinking or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Two people can look on two different coasts at the same story and come up with a very similar joke.
It's like the music, it's like two tunes, like you said. So Corden said, after he told that joke on Monday, Gervais tweeted, that bit about the town square advert for guitar lessons, brilliant.
Oh.
And he is brilliant for that.
That is a masterful LKA move.
Big time. That's Chris Demm, and Chris Demm is in that world. Yeah. He's an LKA.
I bow.
And that just sounds like, you can just hear him saying it. That bit about the town square advert for guitar lessons, brilliant.
Oh, God. That's a masterpiece of LKA.
So, LKA, low-key a-hole. That's right. Which Chris Demm has been shouted out for being. Because Chris Demm, if you email him, will write you back and you'll think, oh, that was a nice response. Then 6 hours later, you'll go, hey, wait a minute.
Like Biggie in the high school.
Yes. Yeah. Big in high school. Didn't have to go that far, did he?
No.
Didn't have to go that far. Somebody suggested Biggie do decimal points on his movie reviews. Chris Demm said, hey, man, guy barely graduated high school. That was a gift to him. Huh?
Yeah.
Didn't have to say it.
And his argument is, well, he did graduate.
But I bow to the master, Mr.
Gervais. That's why you like him so much. You're such a fan. You're the one that told me to watch The Office. The British version of The Office. Well, Corden acknowledged and tweeted, inadvertently told a brilliant Ricky Gervais joke on the show last night, obviously not knowing it came from him. That's what Corden said. It's brilliant because it's Ricky Gervais. You can watch all of Ricky's excellence on Netflix. All of his specials are there. This is from Corden, who apologized. And now Gervais has said, well, he said what Biggie said, even though Biggie barely graduated high school. I'm sure Gervais is way beyond him. Said, and it's probably one of his writers. You know, one of the writers probably did that.
Yeah, I have a feeling there's a writer who's packing up his apartment today.
Yeah, heading back home to Oklahoma.
Yeah, wherever he's from
LA.
Is it possible that a writer could have heard that 4 years ago and then, you know, didn't even realize he had heard it and then made up the joke?
Yes, absolutely.
I suppose it's possible, but I mean, it's almost word for word. I mean, Americans don't use the phrase town square. British people tend to.
That's right.
You know, I mean, it's.
Of course, Corden is British, so he could.
True, it does sort of fit his. Yeah, you're right.
Well, to me, it's even the guitar lesson part. Like, of all the thing, like, I mean, you could have changed that.
Saxophone.
Yeah, you
anything, really.
Piano.
Anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be
Yard
music.
service.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah.
But he's apologized now, and he'll move on. He's ending the show, I'm not sure when, in the next couple of years, and people are saying, good, get out. Boy, talk about a guy who's
they've
gone.
really turned on him.
Yeah, they have. That's society, isn't it? You just, boom, you're turned on all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, and we talked about this when the first Baltazar story broke, that people send us 9-minute emails about why people dislike James Corden.
I think a celebrity of any note now, you probably have that online. Here's why he's awful.
Sure.
Here's what he's terrible because of this, he or she. And then other people defend them and say, well, he was great to me, you know, when you meet him. Nowadays, you know, there's such a forum to say whatever you think about people.
Well, that's the essence of Gervais's Twitter joke.
That's exactly right. That goes back to that joke. That's right. A couple of more. Now, we've already played some music Chris Demm hates. Let's play some more. We played Rod Stewart's Love Touch.
Right, for your love language.
Now we have the opportunity to play some Huey Lewis, Heart of Rock and Roll, which I know you hate. You know, this song came on the radio the other day. One of those tribal chants. And I'm stealing that from Kelsey Graham. I just stole that.
Yeah.
But
is this your feel-good song?
Yeah, it's my feel-good song of the day. This is my feel-good song of the day. This makes me feel good. And the song came on the radio. My wife and I were in the car, and I said, Huey Lewis is so great. And she said, is he?
That's an attack.
Yeah, it's an attack.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I thought you were in. I said, of course he is. She goes, well, I mean, it was a great time, and I know you're nostalgic for it, but is he really good?
I thought you guys were kind of in lockstep when it came to music.
We usually are. And I know she saw Huey, I believe it was her first concert. And she likes him. I think she likes him, but now has realized basically what she likes about him. It's fun fluff, but it's
more a reminder of your youth.
Yeah, I think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, and I've watched the behind the music, and even he's like, look, we weren't making life-changing, hard-hitting tunes about the Cold War.
Yeah.
We were your escape.
Yeah. Well, they just sold their entire library for $20 million.
That's it?
That's what I thought. Not enough money.
No.
You need more. Huey Lewis needs more than $20 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Some of these guys that were getting like $100 million, I couldn't believe it.
I know. He said, well, they sold it for $20 million. And Huey's like, okay, I'll take it, and I'm done. So now it can be used in commercials or whatever.
Didn't ZZ Top get like $100 million or something? I don't think their catalog's worth that.
You could have held out.
Come on, the guy wrote "Stuck with You."
Exactly.
Yes, it's true.
I would make the same argument. That's exactly right.
I think he got way more than it's worth.
I was getting ready to say the guy wrote "Stuck with You."
Power of love.
Power of love.
How do you deny power of love?
I deny.
What's your favorite Huey Lewis song?
My favorite?
Yeah.
Oh God. I can't think of one. I mean,
wow, that hurts. You can't think of any that you even
there's so many
like.
that I dislike. I really don't like this song.
You don't like this one?
Never have.
Even from Back to the Future?
I don't like the lyric. I don't like the music. No.
Dang. This is my favorite. I love this song. I've changed my mind. This is my feel-good song of the day.
Yeah.
This is the one.
Like, I know people love Bob Dylan, but he got 300 million. I don't see how.
He's never stopped writing songs. Part of it.
He's got more than Huey. But
Yeah, you got more, but I know Huey's. I think if you played more, I think people know more Huey Lewis than Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. I agree with that. I agree with that statement. That I'd give him at least 75 million. If I won the lottery tonight,
You'd go to.
I'd give him 75 million. I'd outbid.
Easy.
Then I could play it whenever I wanted. Yeah. Just have it.
They're calling him the dumbest Powerball winner ever.
Is this the song that put Huey over the top, or was he already enormous?
I mean, he'd already had that album. I can't remember the order. One was 4 and one was Sports, but he was I mean, that Heart and Soul song, that was one of the early videos
big,
that I saw.
Very, very big.
That's the weird one where the whole band's in bed with a girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or is that when they're dancing? I can't remember which one is the band's in bed with a girl.
I think this was this may not be his first number one. I have heard him say because of the success of Back to the Future, this put him on even another level. Power of Love.
Yeah, that's true. This was made him a global star.
So if I win the billion tonight, I'm buying the Huey Lewis catalog,
and then selling it back to Huey so you can buy it from him for $75.
That's correct. And so and then I can play any song anytime I want from Huey Lewis, wherever I want. That's how it is. And you'll all will hate.
That's the power.
That's the power of love. A couple of more entertainment notes. Simon Cowell did an interview, and they were talking about Matthew Perry and his addictions. Simon Cowell said, I was addicted to cigarettes. I smoked my first one when I was 8 years old. He did an interview with The Sun in London. At 8, he started smoking. And he was arrested at 12 for pointing a pea shooter, a gun, at a bus driver, a little BB type gun, pea shooter gun. And he said, I almost burned the house down. I set Santa Claus on fire when I was 12.
I bet his parents smoked, or a family member must have smoked.
Wouldn't doubt that.
Because I probably took a puff of a cigarette when I was 10 or 11 from Nana's or Pinky's.
Yeah, probably. He smoked his first cigarette at age 8, and he said he liked it. So he started smoking for good at 14.
I think the first time I really smoked a cigarette, I was 12.
But I think almost smoking that young is almost good because you hate it so much. It's like, oh, I would never touch that, Yeah,
maybe. I didn't have any interest in it after that.
Well, me neither. I tried smoking in college. I tried my best to be a smoker, and just it never hit.
You just you weren't smoking the right stuff, bro.
When it's right, I think you know it, and it hit my throat so wrong. So, oh God, I can't do that. I didn't understand how people could. It does look relaxing, but I never, I couldn't do it. He said he got caught right up in it and smoked for many, many years. I don't know if he still smokes. I think he's finally quit, Simon Cowell. But he said that he was a terrible child, and everybody thought he was going to be in prison eventually. And look why he's turned it around and what he's made of himself. Simon Cowell doing that. And then the other entertainment note today, and this is about music as well. Dolly Parton says, no more tours. I'm done with it. She's too old now, she says, to be touring. She'll just do one-off performances here and there, usually around Dollywood. And in Tennessee, and she might join others on stage for little collaborations, but she said she's not going to be doing a full out tour anymore.
I didn't know. When was her last full on tour?
3 years ago, she said. She did right before COVID. She did. She came here at one point. We had a colleague who smelled her dress.
Yeah, they got to go backstage for a meet and greet, although there was no Dolly.
That was Dolly's stipulation. She would do a meet and greet without the meet or the greet.
You could just see her dressing room, basically.
You smell her, though.
Yeah, you could smell her rack of clothes or dresses.
Remember? Our colleague said she smelled great.
Or clothes.
Yeah, like peaches. Isn't that wonderful? I bet that's, Dolly smells good.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised she's never done like a Vegas-style residency at Dollywood.
She should.
It's like, hey, I'm doing 2 weeks of shows here.
At her own theater?
Yeah, buy your tickets,
God, that would be enormous.
Yeah, people would flock to Dollywood for that.
I flock anyway. That's become my new favorite place. I would flock to Dollywood. I mean, we're probably going back in the spring.
Would you buy it if you won the Powerball?
Yes.
And then live there?
Yes. I would buy it. The first 2 things I would buy. Huey Lewis's catalog. Sell it back to him, then buy it from him. And then Dollywood in its entirety. And I would close it for everybody except me and Biggie. Twice a year. Because we're best friends.
Wow.
Okay? And I would have them redo some of the coasters so we could ride comfortably together.
That's right. Hey, we're going to need to take out a seat for him. That's a risk, man.
We're just going to let out this jamboree seat here a little bit.
And then you and I would sit comfortably together in the same seat on all of those roller
Side by side.
Side by side.
That's the power
That's
of
the
love.
power of love. That's exactly right. I'm glad you said that.